There is something that has been hidden in plain sight for nearly 2,000 years, not buried in a cave, not locked away in a monastery. Hidden inside the very stories most people have heard since childhood, stories so familiar that no one thought to look deeper. Think about the healing accounts in the Gospels. You have probably read them or heard them preached dozens of times. A man blind from birth. A woman bent over for 18 years. A young girl pronounced dead. And in each account, something remarkable happens just before the miracle. Something most translations flatten into a single, unremarkable word. Jesus reaches out. Jesus toshe. And Jesus speaks. But what did he actually say? Not the Greek translation, not the Latin rendering, not the English version polished for Sunday morning. What did the voice of Jesus, the actual sound that left his lips in his own language, what did it carry? That question is what this teaching is about, and the answer is going to change the way you hear those stories forever. By the end of this video, you will understand why the touch of Jesus was never separate from the Word. He spoke. Why together they formed something ancient, something deliberate, something that functions more like a key than a prayer. Stay with me. What is coming will require you to slow down and feel it. A single root can hold within it a physical sensation, a spiritual direction, and an emotional state all at once. When you translate Aramaic into Greek, and then from Greek into English, what you lose is not just vocabulary. You lose dimension. Jesus was an Aramaic speaker from birth. His prayers, his conversations, his commands, they were all formed in this layered, resonant tongue, and the accounts we are about to explore together were originally passed down in Aramaic before they were ever written in Greek. This means that every healing account you know has a deeper original, an original where the words carry a weight the translated versions simply cannot hold. The first Aramaic concept we need to receive is the word nafsha. Matthew 10:39. Jesus used it in ways that have been consistently mistranslated as simply soul or life. But nafsha is far more specific than that. It refers to the breath self, the animating, embodied consciousness. Not the soul floating above the body, the soul fully present inside it, breathing, feeling, alive. When Jesus touched someone who was broken in body, he was not addressing only their physical tissue. He was addressing their nafsha, the living, breathing self that had become contracted around its wound. That distinction changes everything about what a healing actually is. The words of Jesus in Aramaic opened different pathways back to divine alignment. Each one represents a frequency capable of restoring something fragmented in human consciousness. Understanding these frequencies is the first step, but mastering their vibration in your daily life is where the true miracle happens. Aramaic words carry a sound dimension that is deeply vibrational, and some of these pronunciations may reach your ear slightly differently, depending on how they are rendered. To help you embody each frequency with precision, I created a collection of 5 sacred study guides, each one dedicated to a specific Aramaic declaration and its practice. Inside, you'll find the correct pronunciation, guided meditations, and daily activation rituals. The link is pinned in the comments. Your deeper transformation begins there. There is a pattern in the healing accounts of Jesus that most people have never been taught to notice. In nearly every significant miracle recorded in the Gospels, there is a sequence. Jesus observes fully, completely, without turning away. Then he moves toward. Then he touches. And then he speaks a specific word or phrase. Remove any element of that sequence, and the account feels different. Together, they form something that looks less like a transaction and more like a ritual. Think about the healing of the man with the withered hand in Mark 3. Think about the woman who touched the hem of his garment. Think about the raising of Jairus' daughter, where Jesus cleared the room, took the child's hand, and then spoke directly to her. Why clear the room? Why the touch? Why the specific words? These were not random choices. Jesus was operating from within a coherent understanding of how healing actually moves. In the Aramaic tradition, illness was never seen as only a physical event. It was understood as a fragmentation, a place where nafsha had pulled back from full embodiment. Pain, fear, grief. These cause the breath self to contract, to partially withdraw. Healing, then, required the breath self to be called back into the body. Called fully back. And a voice, the right voice, with the right intention, carrying the right frequency, could do what no or remedy could accomplish. Jesus knew this, and the way he touched was always an announcement, a preparation. His hand did not simply make contact with skin. It communicated. I see you. I am not afraid of your condition. You are not what this wound has made you believe you are. That is the second dimension we need to hold. The touch was a declaration before the word was ever spoken. Which brings us to a word that appears with remarkable clarity in one of the most intimate healing accounts in all of Scripture. 2014, a word that Jesus spoke aloud, in his own tongue, and that the Gospel writer was so struck by that he preserved it. It is the Aramaic word Ephatha, 2014, Mark 7:34. In English, you will find it rendered simply as 201 CB, opened 201 de. But that translation, while accurate on the surface, strips away something essential. Slow down. What you are about to receive is the center of this entire teaching. Epipata, ephata, a breath and a release. But look at what the Aramaic root actually carries. The root petha, in Aramaic, does not mean simply to open in the way you open a door or a jar. It means to unblock the pathway between the inner world and the outer world. It means to allow the interior reality to become accessible, to become expressed, received, transmitted. The deaf man in this account could not hear, could not speak clearly. He was blocked in both directions, from receiving and from expressing. And Jesus did not pray over him from a distance. He took him aside, away from the crowd. He put his fingers in the man's ears. He touched his tongue. He looked upward. He sighed, a sound the Greek records as a groan, but which in Aramaic practice carries the weight of a deep, intentional breath, a kind of releasing exhale. And then he said, "If I..." Sit with that for a moment, because the next part of this teaching is going to ask you to receive this word for yourself. If something in you is shifting as you receive this teaching, trust that movement. It is your original nature recognizing itself. The 5 sacred study guides were designed to walk beside you as that remembrance deepens. Layer by layer, word by word, frequency by frequency. Each guide carries the full context of these sacred declarations, their sound, their meaning, and their power to dissolve what no longer belongs to you. The link is pinned in the comments. Your return to wholeness has a next step. The practice is simple, but simple does not mean shallow. Begin with stillness. Place one hand on your chest, over your heart, over the center of your breathing. This is the gesture of contact. You are not reaching toward a distant God. You are acknowledging the nafsha within you, the breath self that has been present in you since your first inhale. Then breathe. A long, deliberate breath in. And as you exhale, speak the word softly, or simply hold it in your awareness if you are not alone. Ephatha, ephata. Say it not as a command you are giving to something outside you, but as a permission you are extending inward. Be opened. The place in you that contracted around the wound. The place that learned to stay quiet. The place that stopped believing it could receive. Open. And then the third Aramaic word enters. Because Jesus did not only call things open, he also sealed what he had opened with blessing. The word is shlama shlama, John 14:27, and it is consistently translated as peace. But shlama in Aramaic is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of wholeness. It is the state of being so fully integrated, body, breath, spirit, that nothing outside you can find a foothold in fragmentation. Jesus said, "My shlama I give to you, not as the world gives." What does the world give? Relief, distraction, resolution of symptoms. What Jesus was offering was something structurally different, a kind of interior completion that the external world cannot produce and cannot remove. That is what the healing ritual was always moving toward, not simply the removal of an affliction, the restoration of shlama. Before we close, there is one more thing, and it may be the most important thing in this entire teaching. Most people, When they hear these healing accounts, assume they are witnesses to a unique divine power, something that belonged to Jesus alone and cannot be accessed by anyone else. And it is true that Jesus carried a fullness that is singular, but that is not the whole story, because Jesus himself said something about this that most translations make almost invisible. In John 14:12, Jesus told his disciples directly, "The works that I do, you will do also, and greater works than these." Greater. That word is not a translation problem. It is in every version. And Jesus said it in an upper room to ordinary people in Aramaic the night before his death. What does that mean for you? It means the keys are not locked away. The pattern of nafsha nafsha, Ephatha ephata, and shlama shlama, the breath self, the opening. Tewulenes, this is not a formula that died with the first century. It is a living framework, a way of meeting your own broken places and the broken places of those you love with intention, with presence, with the ancient authority of a language designed to carry the deepest frequencies of what it means to be human and divine at once. Did you feel something shift today? Did these words touch something deeper in you? If they did, leave the word awakening in the comments. That is your confirmation that the light within you is moving. And when the light moves, it needs a path. Discover our complete collection of 5 sacred study guides created to carry your transformation beyond this moment. The link is pinned in the comments. Your next step is waiting. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation. Right now, before you close this video, come to the comments and tell us, what did you feel? What shifted? We read every single response. And if this teaching found you today, subscribe to this channel. Every week we go deeper into the ancient frequency codes that were always meant to be yours.